Hi, I'm Terrell Davis, two-time world champion and Pro Football Hall of Famer. There is nothing more important than your health. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer.
This February, save 25% off all primetime functional trainers, home gyms, and racks. Work out on your schedule on the equipment you choose from the safety and comfort of your own home. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins.
Winter isn't over just yet. In Colorado, your furnace has one job: to keep you warm. If it's been a while since your last tune-up, you're rolling the dice. Stoke here. ROX Rocks Heating and Air is local and honest. Get your furnace tuned up before the cold settles back in for only $39. Call ROX Rocks Heating and Air today or schedule online. Keep your home warm, keep your family safe, but only with ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
One iced coffee?
$1, please.
For real? No way. One iced coffee?
$1, please.
For real? No way. What a deal.
Your new morning groove. Iced coffee from McDonald's, any size for just $1 until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
For many of us, it's happened before. Your hair is thinning, crowns disappearing. Maybe the hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. The solution that worked for me, it's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. And it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what if you want your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Paul's, it's not maybe your hair will regrow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Hoops in Hamilton on the DU campus is intense this season.
And the Denver Pioneers have scored more points than any game in program history.
The threes are flying and the atmosphere is electric. Join us to create a home court advantage as conference play heats up.
Goes down low, feeds Wysocki, up with a two-handed dunk.
Group discounts and one-of-a-kind experiences await. Denver basketball. Get your tickets today at DenverPioneers.com.
Plumline Services, serving Colorado since 1998 for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Service at home, servants at heart.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
Jake Shapiro, Dante Gomez here on Denver Sports Tonight, taking you through this hour. Really excited to talk with my guy. Some baseball talk coming, because it's me and Dante. I have to do it. But I had to start here, and I've been teasing this question all day in the office to Dante. I said, I got a great question that the texters are going to love. I come back from Cancun. I was on vacation, and I was thinking about this question the entire time I was on vacation. And I think I came up with the perfect answer, but this is the question for you, Dante. And we're going to answer this in the final part of the show. If you could time travel and go to any sporting event ever and just take it in as a spectator, you get great seats, you're there, you get to see it, what sporting event are you choosing? Some come to mind immediately, Dante?
I already have it. I don't even need to wait until the end. If you want, we can wait, but I already have my answer.
Go for it. I got mine. I'm gonna wait on mine, but go for yours.
Also, real quick, before I get to mine, I thought you were going to ask me if you could run into one person while in Cancun. Who would you want to run into?
I ran
knowing that's a very famous person vacation spot.
I ran into an Avs minor league player brother. So that was like the A-listers are out. Yeah, man.
No, if I could go to one event ever, I'm going to go to the 2001 World Series Game 7.
Okay. Diamondbacks, Yankees, right?
Diamondbacks, Yankees, walk-off of Mariano Rivera. Arizona's only championship. I'm from Arizona, so that's the only thing that I have. I was 4 years old when it happened. Don't remember it happening. My brother was at the game. My dad was at the game. My mom was at the game. I was at home with the babysitter. But, easy 1-1, Game 7, 0-1.
Luis Gonzalez, right?
Luis Gonzalez, the little blooper over Derek Jeter at short.
See, I think a lot of people would time travel back to the 1934 World Series and see if Babe Ruth actually called his shot. I think that's going to be one of the top answers. That was my wife's answer, and she's a Red Sox fan. So she just wanted to see it for the pure baseball spectacle that it was. But hit us up on the text line. Let us know your moment. I think I've got the best moment. I think Dante's going to laugh when I share my moment, but I think I've got the number one pick coming up later in the show.
Can I try to guess throughout the show a little bit here and there?
Yeah, you could jab me.
First guess, Wilt's 100-point game.
Dude, that's a great guess, but no.
Okay.
I think that 100% happened, and I have no doubts about it. So I don't think I need.
You don't even need to go back.
It was also so many free throws. Like it was just free throws. Like I don't think it would have been that good of a sporting event.
That's true. I think it would have gotten boring anyway. It would have been LaMelo Ball in high school when he's just cherry picking at the other end of the court. Except Wilt obviously was dominant and did it at the NBA level. But I'm with you. I don't think that would be up there on my list either.
So I got a little bit of news that just came in across the wire, which is for tomorrow night's Denver Nuggets game against the Los Angeles Clippers, their first game back after the All-Star break. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are off the injury report. I know Nikola has been playing, but I think it's pretty notable that both guys are fully healthy, according to what the Nuggets put out. The only guys listed as out for tomorrow are Aaron Gordon and Payton Watson, who are expected to miss extended time, each with hamstring injuries. Jalen Pickett is also probable. He's got some right knee soreness. But I think, Dante, that's just such big news to hear, even though we knew Jokic was going to play tomorrow and Murray was going to play tomorrow. I mean, it gives me hope that they might even play in both sides of the back-to-back because they play Friday in Portland as well, that both guys are leaving All-Star break completely healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's great news for both those guys, for the Nuggets, for the continuity of the Nuggets starting lineup. Try to get some chemistry going here. It's kind of a sprint, 27 games until the playoffs get going. You really want to make sure you set yourself up with one of those top 3 seeds. You get to avoid playing OKC in the second round if you're one of either the 2 or 3 seed, if Oklahoma City continues on the trajectory that we think they are. So I think it's really important that they go out and win some games here, and I hope that they got some much-needed rest the past couple days. Those guys might have been down in Cancun after that All-Star game, resting up on the beach. So great news from both of those guys, and hopefully it's just smooth sailing at this point. Obviously still dealing with the Watson and Gordon issues, but if you can have everybody else stay healthy at that point, I think you take it.
Yeah, I think you just said it. The most important thing for the Denver Nuggets championship hopes the rest of the year is finding a way to get to that 2 or 3 seed in the West and avoiding Oklahoma City for as long as possible. Now, don't get me wrong. The Spurs also scare me. They're a good team. But I just feel like with this being the Spurs' first real time in the playoffs in the Wembanyama era, I will feel like the Nuggets have a chance to just out-veteran, outclass them in a playoff series, whereas we saw what Oklahoma City can do, and you want to wait for that as long as possible. Hope that maybe one of those guys twists an ankle, maybe they even get knocked out by like Minnesota or something, which seems improbable because Minnesota's just been absolutely killed by Oklahoma City until their last matchup, which Minnesota dominated them. So maybe just something happens, and obviously the best team in the NBA in Oklahoma City, you wouldn't have to play them. And I think, that being said, it was important in 2023 that the Denver Nuggets caught a lot of breaks in their scheduling. I think it's, important that you find a way to maybe get lucky along the way.
Well, for the most part, a lot of the NBA championship teams have gotten a little bit lucky along the way. Last year, Oklahoma City, Tyrese Halliburton tears his Achilles very early on in Game 7. You pointed at the Nuggets. They kind of got a little bit lucky along their way. When the Bucks won it, the Suns were missing their backup center.
Kevin Durant's toe was a half inch too big.
Kevin Durant's toe, yeah, they should have been eliminated in the second round. Kevin Durant should have hit that 3 instead of a 2. But it just feels like every single year someone gets a little bit lucky. It's the Celtics. They got to face the Mavericks instead of the Nuggets, who were the juggernaut in the West that year. So a little bit easier of a path for them. So every team has a little bit of luck on their side when going to a title. I don't think that's anything you should be ashamed of if you're a Nuggets fan and hoping that Oklahoma City gets knocked out before the Nuggets are able to face them.
No, and I just said it on the drive. To me, I almost, it makes me appreciate the 2023 title even more, that all of those things went right for the Nuggets, that they caught all the breaks, that the guys stayed healthy. Because you're sitting in this year and you go into it and you go, you know, if the Nuggets can just get Jonas Valanciunas to be a good backup center, David Adelman to be a solid coach in his rookie year, Jamal Murray somehow finally turns out to be an all-star, and maybe a guy like Payton Watson takes a leap and you find some luck with a two-way contract. Those were all things I said on our airways. And guess what? All of those things have happened. And yet we still don't feel great about the Nuggets because of all the other stuff has gone wrong with injuries and clutch time stuff. And, you know, Aaron Gordon's legs obviously being the chief concern among the injuries. And then, you know, some struggles with getting Cam Johnson integrated at the start, which wasn't that surprising. Christian Brown taking a step back and then also getting injured. So, you know, it's the stuff you don't necessarily see coming that really affects you. But it's funny because if you made a list of everything that the Denver Nuggets needed to go right before the start of the season, all of them have pretty much gone right, except no one figured Nikola Jokic would be out for a month and then all these other injuries would occur. And you mentioned the word continuity, Dante, as we talk about injuries. Right now, the Nuggets opening night starting five of Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson, Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic have started just 10 games together this season. They're 8-2 in those 10 games very early on in the year. Aaron Gordon's expected to miss probably another month. Payton Watson somewhere in there as well. You said 27 games left. Maybe if you're lucky, that 10-game number turns into 20 and you get 20 games of your starting five this year. That is a minuscule amount of games for your starting five to play. I mean, I'm going to go back to the 23 championship season, Dante. The Nuggets starting five played 41 games together that year. The follow-up season when they won a franchise record for their NBA time, 57 games, they played 48 games together. This is just such a minuscule amount of games for a starting five to play together that I actually looked into the numbers at recent NBA champions, the last 25 years or so. Has anyone actually played fewer games with their starting five and won a championship in that year? And this number kind of had an asterisk to it because it was the Milwaukee Bucks that fit this category the year they won it with Giannis Antetokounmpo just playing fantastic. Dante DiVincenzo went down in the playoffs that year, and PJ Tucker replaced him in the starting five. So the starting five that won the championship over your Phoenix Suns, it had PJ Tucker in it, which was not their starting five. They had never started that starting five together because Tucker joined the team very late in the year, and also DiVincenzo got hurt. So, yes, they won with a starting five that was new, and that's the newest starting five that's ever won an NBA championship, at least in recent history. The only other comparable thing to what the Nuggets are going through right now is that, in retrospect, stacked 2019 Toronto Raptors squad that traded for Marc Gasol at the deadline with Jonas Valanciunas, by the way. They used Jonas Valanciunas in the trade, so that's the one thing the 2019 Raptors and the 2025-26 Nuggets have in common. They get Marc Gasol, they put him in the starting lineup. They played about 20 games together at the end of the season. I think it was like 15 maybe. And then they started all the playoff games together, all 24. And they were fantastic. And they beat that Warriors team. They got a little bit of luck along the way with the Clay and Kevin Durant injuries, as you mentioned. So I bring up those statistics. And, you know, there's a couple other teams that you could throw in there, but none quite as dramatic. Like we're talking about trades before the year, or maybe a sixth man gets traded into the team that year. Dante, this would be a really dramatic thing for the Denver Nuggets to win, given the lack of continuity. Does that concern you at all, that these guys just really haven't played together?
So I'm going to kind of ride the fence on this answer. It does concern me, but at the same time, it doesn't concern me. I'm going to tell you why it doesn't. Do we know who the Nuggets starting five is going forward? Is it the starting five that we saw on opening day? Because if I'm David Adelman, I think I'm subbing Payton Watson into the starting lineup over Christian Brown. I think you get enough shooting with especially if Peyton Watson's making shots, but with Cam Johnson and Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson, obviously Jokic and Jamal are the staples of the starting lineup. And I think the defensive versatility you get if you have Gordon, Watson out there together, I think you need that length. I think you need that athleticism out there. So, and I actually think Christian Brown fits better as a sixth man coming off the bench. We saw it in the 2023 NBA championship run that the Nuggets had. Christian Brown's accustomed to that role at some point. He can be a little bit more of a high energy guy. He's quick, he's athletic. I think that role fits him better, and I think it makes the starting lineup better. So I get what you're saying, that the continuity might not be there. This is a very veteran heavy team. You mentioned it. I can't remember if it was on air or in the break, that Zeke Naji is, what is he, the second youngest player on the team, the third youngest player on the team? And if the fact that guy's been here for the last 4 years and he's that young into the NBA, this is it just points to how veteran of a team and how much experience this team has. So I have no doubt that Jokic can get plugged in and figure everything out, especially when you have a first-round matchup against a lesser-than opponent. I don't think anybody's expecting the Nuggets to lose in the first round. The playoffs really start for the Nuggets once you hit that second round. That's when you need to be clicking on all cylinders. So I don't see any reason they can't do it, and especially if you're already going to mess with the starting lineup.
Yeah, I don't actually dispute the reasons for why you believe Christian could be a better starter off the bench. I mean, a better player off the bench than a starter. But I do go back to early on in the season. I think Peyton Watson, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Jonas Valanciunas really developed some nice chemistry as a trio, and Bruce Brown together as a four. And I wouldn't mind seeing that more, but I'm with you. I think Peyton Watson at this point is a better player than Christian Brown, so I get the thinking. That starting lineup, or that five-man lineup of Watson, Gordon, Johnson, Jokic, Murray, has only started 2 games together this season, which again would make this a historical anomaly, but you have the best player of the decade on your team. And I'm with you. I expect him to be able to make these things work, but there are some signs that he is struggling to get the new pieces to work. And Cam Johnson being traded to this team was the most dramatic shift the Nuggets have had with their lineup. And then you add Tim Hardaway Jr. and Bruce Brown and Jonas Valanciunas. Like, this is the most different Nuggets rotation year over year since they went from not having Jamal because of an ACL and trading KCP into the team, and they roll into the championship, and they figured things out during the course of the year. And the number that kind of indicates to me that not only Nikola Jokic, but the Nuggets have struggled with this a little bit, is they're 14-13 in clutch time this year. Games under 5 minutes with 5 minutes, or games under 5 in margin of score with 5 minutes or left to go. Their net rating is negative 8.6, which is 6th worst in the NBA. Only teams worse are Brooklyn, Memphis, New Orleans, Sacramento, and Washington.
Are any of those teams good?
Those teams are competing for a fella out of Kansas named Darren Peterson, except New Orleans, who traded their first-round pick for some reason.
Well, they got Derek Queen out of it.
Yeah, they did get Derek Queen, who is sick, but not that sick. So, Dante, we're talking about literally some of the worst teams in the league, and the Nuggets are playing like one of the worst teams in the league in clutch time. And to me, there's a variety of reasons, including Jokic's injury, the fact that Jokic, since he's come back, has had some mind-bending turnovers that have just been brutal. But it also, to me, is about the fact that they don't have necessarily the inherent knowledge of exactly what the setup should be, both because there's a new coach and because there's new pieces closing for the Nuggets. And to me, this year was about settling Cam Johnson and building that continuity, and they're not going to get a chance to really do that until mid-March at the earliest here, and that's a little bit concerning to me. And you say, okay, well, maybe they're going to just end up in the playoffs and they'll have an easier opponent in the first round, right, like you were saying, and they'll just be able to kind of figure it out on the fly then. Right now, the Nuggets have the 3 seed, which would be terrific if the Nuggets got the 3 seed. They would play, bump it on in the first round, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Who in Denver wants to see the Minnesota Timberwolves again in the playoffs?
I mean, you have to play somebody in the playoffs. The West is good regardless of who's going to make the playoffs. Obviously, you're going to avoid the Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round. So at some point, you have to play somebody. But I still think a lot of people would take the Nuggets in a series versus the Timberwolves at this point.
I would take the Nuggets as well, but I do think Minnesota is one of the 4 best teams in the West, no matter where they are in the standings. I expect them to climb, and I would hope as a Nuggets fan that their first-round matchup is either Houston or Phoenix. I think that would be probably beneficial. And not to besmirch what Phoenix has done because it's been spectacular, but they just don't have enough firepower on that team to win a playoff series against a team as good as the Nuggets. And Houston, I don't think, has any sort of secret sauce now that Steven Adams is gone and Fred VanVleet is out for the year. So I think you'd be able to win that playoff series, even though you've had some really good, tough games against Houston. So if you're playing Houston or Phoenix or maybe even the Clippers sneak in there with their kind of zombie mash unit, or maybe even the Warriors find a way, I'm with you, Dante. You'd be able to figure it out in the first round and work on some things. But I just hope that the Nuggets are a little bit more up to speed by that point, based off the history of the NBA and continuity being so important.
So what are you saying, that the Nuggets should just punt on the year, kind of how like the Avalanche did last? Not that the Avalanche punted on the season last year, but I think there was a fair amount of people that were using that as an excuse for the Avs. All the midseason trades didn't get to build up that continuity, the chemistry throughout the year, and then this was the year that it was all going to be put together. Is that what you're saying, the Nuggets? This is the year before the year, or are you still giving them a chance for this season?
The Thunder are only getting better over time. I think they actually got worse this year because of championship hangover, and they've had a lot of injuries. But I think ultimately the Thunder are going to get better, and they're going to be better next year than they are this year. The Spurs are clearly getting better and will be better next year than they are this year. Minnesota, I couldn't read it. Point being is, I don't think the Nuggets are going to be better next year than they are this year. They have more talent on their roster right now this year than they will next year, and that's because Aaron Gordon's extension kicks in, Christian Brown's extension kicks in, you're going to have to pay Payton Watson, Cam Johnson's an impending free agent after next year. Do you move on from him early? Jonas Valanciunas has a team option. There's no way they assembled this level of talent. So they don't have an option for it to be the year before the year. This year needs to be the year, and I do believe that the Nuggets are among the 3 best teams in the NBA still. I really do think that they're right behind Oklahoma City, and I put Detroit right there right now based off of what they've done, and the fact that the Detroit's probably going to cruise through the East and only going to have to win. They'll be.
You're not giving the Knicks any respect?
I had the Knicks in my DenverSports preseason poll. I will still give the Knicks respect. I have a lot of admiration for what the Boston Celtics have done, but if you're telling me you're 48 times 4 minutes away from winning an NBA championship, whoever comes out of the East will be 48 times 4, even though they're not as good as the teams out of the West, I have to consider you a serious championship contender. We saw what happened last year with Indiana, right? You're just so much closer than anyone else because of luck. And, God forbid, let's say Shea injured his Achilles instead of Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers probably win the championship last year. And no one would have thought the Pacers were the best team, right? Until they won it. So a lot of things can happen, but that's my concern right now with the Nuggets is continuity and clutch time. And I'll shift the conversation forward to this. What do the Nuggets need to do in these last 27 games? Maybe 25 of them will be meaningful. That will maybe impress you or make you believe further in their championship odds, or are you already there? You don't care what happens in these games. You just need to see the guys on the court healthy.
I will say before the year, I had a lot of hope and belief in this Denver Nuggets team. The way that Nikola has played since coming back from injury hasn't inspired me too much. I think I need to see Jokic get back to being the best player in the world. And I get that he's still the best player in the world, and a 2-week stretch isn't going to take that away from him. But he didn't look like the best player in the world for that 2 weeks or a week or so that he was back from injury. He looked like he was beatable in those games. And I think with the way the Nuggets are built, they're very Jokic reliant on, and that's any basketball team, is your best player. You're going to be very reliant on your best player and playing really well, but maybe the Nuggets more so than some of the other teams. We saw SGA have a couple bad games last year in the playoffs, and not Jay Williams.
Jalen Williams.
Jalen Williams. He stepped up in a couple of those games. I think he had a 40-piece in one of the finals games.
I think he had 35 against the Nuggets in one of those big games, and that was kind of the answering of the bell for me with OKC. It's okay, they're really going to do this thing.
Exactly. It's about your second player being able to step up and being able to count on him. And if Jokic isn't his best version of himself, I get that Jamal Murray's been playing at an all-star level this year, but I think a lot of what Jamal Murray's success in the playoff comes from is Jokic being the sun on of the Denver Nuggets and being able to attract the opposing defense into making sure that they stop Jokic. I don't think I get other teams are probably game planning for Jamal Murray, but I don't think it's to the same level as teams are game planning for an SGA or a Devin Booker or a Kawhi Leonard. I don't think Jamal Murray gets quite that same treatment. And if Jokic isn't able to be the best version of himself, I just don't see Jamal Murray being able to consistently step up for this team. So I need to see Jokic get back to looking like the best player in the world by a wide margin, I would add too. I don't think that's any controversial take or hot take here that Jokic has been the best player in the world pretty unattacked. Yeah, unequivocally. For the last 3 to 4 years in the NBA, I need to see that version of himself in these last 27 games.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said. And the only thing I'd push back on is I think the Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Nuggets because they game planned for Jamal Murray and they realized the Nuggets didn't have any other guard play. And that's how they beat the Nuggets. And they let Jokic. I mean, I've never seen a better basketball game being played than Jokic in Game 5 of that Round 2 series against Minnesota. That was the best Nikola Jokic has ever played. And again, it didn't really end up mattering in all because they beat Jamal Murray. And they, look at what Oklahoma City did last year. They made life really tough for Jamal Murray. And eventually it affected Jamal Murray. And then they started making life tough for Nikola Jokic. And it worked. So
real quick on top of that, especially in the playoffs when you're allowed to be a little bit more physical, that's when Jamal Murray is really not looked at his best, when he's facing a physical team like the Thunder he did last year or the Timberwolves in the year prior to that. I think that's when you get some of the worst versions of Jamal Murray, when he's shooting 40% from the field and, hey, it's the playoffs, dude. We need you to shoot 50% for a majority of the games.
So my list of things I need to see from the Nuggets. I'm with you. Number one, I need to see Nikola Jokic make a full recovery from this knee injury and look clear and away like the best player in the NBA, going back to the form that was like early on in the season where it's, he's going to win this MVP. He's going to have one of the greatest seasons of all time. I want to see him play so good down the stretch that it's like he works his way back into this MVP conversation somehow, which will take a lot, but Shea is currently out. Shea's out for another couple weeks right now. So there is a chance, by the way. And I'm not saying the MVP is the most important thing. We're talking about championship, but he needs to be playing at that level for the Nuggets to have a chance. Number two, Jamal Murray needs to continue up his all-star play throughout the second half and earn an all-NBA nod. He needs to be an all-NBA player this year. He just does, the way the Nuggets are playing. Number three, I need to see Aaron Gordon play more than 15 games in a row. He has not played more than 15 games in a row since early in the 2024 season, I believe. It's been a long time since Aaron Gordon's played that many games in a row. Number four, going off of the Aaron Gordon thing because he is so tied to this part of it. The Nuggets need to put together like a 10-game stretch where they're a top 15 defense, just league average or better in the league according to net rating. They were a top, I think, 3 defense in the league their first 12 or 15 games of the year before guys started going down. Teams that do not win games, or teams that do not win, teams do not win champion. Oh, I'm getting distracted because I've got breaking news.
Oh, what do we got?
Nuggets news. And I'm like, this is like right up Jake Alley. And I'll tell you after the break.
After missing 16 games with a knee injury, is something wrong with Nikola Jokic?
I'm watching Jokic, and if you're just looking at the stat sheet, and Adelman's, quoting the stats after the game, and I got it. But if you know the standard that Jokic has set for himself, for us to judge him by, I mean, we're just not seeing the best version of that guy right now.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
I'm Rob Wilhite. If you've been in a car accident, you need experience that wins. For almost 50 years in Colorado, my firm has recovered over $1 billion for crash victims. Call 303-GOOD-LAW or visit WilhiteWins.com. That's WilhiteWins.com.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AutoNation's New Year, New Wheels event is going on now. Drive any new or used vehicles 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. Save thousands on your favorite cars, trucks, and SUVs. Plus, we'll buy your car for top dollar today. Don't miss 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry to your nearest AutoNation store or AutoNation.com. On select models with approved credit, interest accrues from date of purchase. See store for details, subject to in-store verification.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Hi, Dan Cicchini with Dunright. Great pricing options and bank financing? You bet. Kitchens, baths, counters, and floors. Finished basements, windows, and doors. Done right since 1985. You have our word. We'll treat you right at Done Right. Visit drhi.com. Thanks.
Hey, it's Mike Evans. Restore your bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning hair with the same simple one-day treatment I receive from Dr. Tanya Pauls of Advanced Hair. Your own natural hair begins regrowing the very next day, and your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Call 720-459-HAIR, AdvancedHair.com.
Let me ask you something. Is your money doing everything it can for you?
I don't know. How would I know?
Is it automatically saving for special events and keeping you posted on its progress? Like at Huntington Bank?
Oh, no.
Is it tracking your spending so you can make the best choices at the mall?
Nope.
Or setting limits on your teenager's debit card?
Definitely not.
Then it could certainly be doing more.
Yeah, sure sounds like it.
Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
Oh, Dante, I'm so excited. The niche basketball community of Colorado is very excited. The Denver Nuggets, by signing Spencer Jones to a full-time contract today, cleared up a two-way roster slot. They definitely need a ball handler. And they signed one just now. From the University of Colorado Boulder, 6'2", KJ Simpson, one of my favorite college basketball players of all time, Dante. I covered KJ very closely when I was on the CU Buffs men's beat. I'm reading right now on DenverSports.com from March 22, 2024, me in Indianapolis, when KJ Simpson hit one of the biggest shots in the history of University of Colorado men's basketball to beat the Florida Gators at the buzzer in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
He was with the Charlotte Hornets, a second-round pick, wasn't playing much, actually looked really good against the Nuggets earlier this season, and the Nuggets add KJ Simpson, and hopefully, he can be just as good for the Nuggets as Colin Gillespie has been for the Suns. And that's the hope with a guy like this.
Sure, that's the hope. I have my doubts that he can be the impact player that Colin Gillespie has been this year, but it's always great to see a hometown guy reunite with the fans that were there from, I don't want to say the beginning, but an early stage in terms of when he was at Boulder. So I'm excited to see what he does. I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what his impact is going to be, but I wouldn't expect him to have a huge impact on this Nuggets team, at least this season. It feels like they already have the rotation, everything down, but could be something to look for in the future.
Yeah, it could be something to look forward to in the future. He's still just 23 years old, was a prolific player in college, as I'm kind of mentioning, one of the better players in the Pac-12 when Colorado was still in it. He's only played 50 NBA games across 2 seasons, averaging 7 points per game. He has shot only 26% from the three-point line, and he's always struggled to shoot just a little bit, but really good athleticism. And, with Jalen Pickett, like I said last segment, struggling with a knee injury right now, maybe the Nuggets just want a little bit more depth in their backcourt. And, Bruce Brown hasn't been the best backup point guard this year. I think he's been really good, at least as of late. So some insurance, at least for the last 27 games of the season, and I'll be really happy to see my guy back repping the state of Colorado in KJ Simpson. So I had this question for Dante brewing all day because he's like my perfect crossover point in this office. There are very few people who care about basketball and baseball the way I do, like Dante. And right now, I think both sports are in trouble, just real big trouble. You're looking at baseball with all the questions about the salary cap and is it unfair for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you have an impending lockout coming next year most likely because of the owners and the players are on such different sides of how they see the sport moving forward. And, you've had all the deferments with the Shohei Ohtani contract, the haves and the have-nots like the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Colorado Rockies versus teams like the New York Yankees, the New York Mets, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. So there's just a huge amount of chaos in baseball. Meanwhile, the sport itself, the actual baseball, as much as I hate the pitch clock, and I might be the only one on the planet,
I'm there with you. I hate it too.
Because we're real sickos.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't hate the idea of it, but maybe add a couple seconds onto it. But that's a different point.
I can admit baseball is a little better played right now than it was 5-6 years ago, and I would attribute that a lot to the base running changes, introducing some more small ball. And I think baseball's done a good job of making their sport a little bit more appealing. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I think, and you see that in the numbers. The in-game attendance is going up. The viewership numbers are going up in terms of national audiences and local markets. So I think baseball is at least on the upswing right now.
Whereas basketball, I think a lot of people have problems with the game. The amount of three-pointers, the pace, the amount of games played, how meaningless the regular season is. I think there are a lot of problems structurally with the NBA, according to a lot of people. I'm fine with it. I mean, no one loves the NBA regular season like me. I love the three-point shot, but I get that a lot of people have struggles with it. The game is so much different than it was when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson played. I get why people are upset. And then on top of it, the structures in the league, like I was talking about in baseball. In basketball, the tanking question seems to have been huge over the last week, especially over the All-Star break. You've got questions about the second apron. Does it really actually create parity, or do you want parity? Why do you want parity? The league is about stars, and now you're hamstringing the stars team for what reason? I think both sports have serious problems at hand. Baseball with the impending CBA, basketball perhaps with the length of the schedule being the biggest problem. Dante, are you more concerned at one sport over the other in their feasibility over the next 5 to 10 years and the way things are going with it? Because, I mean, I look at the NBA right now, and I'm a little concerned with who's in charge and the way things have been going and the lack of changes when it seems change is so clearly needed in the NBA.
I think it's fair to have concerns with both sports going forward. To me, the baseball one is a bigger issue because the issues that MLB is facing impacts the playoffs, I think, a lot more than the issues that the NBA is facing. The NBA issues are more for those bottom tier teams, and they're tanking But the actual product, once you get to the NBA playoffs, is pretty good for the most part. I don't think you see a lot of that pop up in terms of tanking or in terms of too many 3-pointers in a game. I think the product, like I said, in the playoffs is great. Baseball, however, you've seen the Dodgers win the last 2 World Series, and they're the main culprit of what people are complaining about, and that's that they're spending too much money, and there needs to be some sort of salary cap, salary floor. And I get that the players maybe don't see it as big of an issue because, hey, if I'm a player, I want these teams to be spending money. I don't want there to be a cap on how much money I can spend or how much money the richest team in baseball can spend, because that might be money in my pocket that I'm missing out on in the future. So I think the baseball one's going to be a bigger issue, especially if the Dodgers three-peat here and go for a 3rd World Series. But I think we're heading for a lockout regardless. And as much as the Dodgers and Mets are an issue of how much they spend, you could also point to how big of an issue it is that the Pirates don't spend and that the Miami Marlins don't spend. I saw this stat the other day. The Miami Marlins this last season, they spent $67 million on their payroll, Jake. Do you know what that would have ranked in 2005 MLB payrolls? That's 20 years ago.
I would say that would probably be in the bottom 3.
For 20 years ago?
20 years ago.
No, it was 16th.
Okay.
But either way, it's just crazy that a payroll nowadays would have been mid-level.
Well, and the Dodgers were paying Shohei Ohtani more money than the Marlins were paying their whole team.
Exactly, and that's part of the issue as well. So I just think that we're heading towards a lockout for baseball, and that's not good for the sport. As I mentioned earlier, that viewership is up, in-game attendance is up, and you don't want to throw that all away and have a work stoppage here. So they need to figure that out. I don't know what the answer is for baseball necessarily. And basketball as well. They're 2 very big boy issues there. It's not just like some slight fix is going to fix either of those sports. But I think you need to get control of the way teams are spending in baseball. And especially, you mentioned it, the deferred money. The deferred money is just funny money, where these teams can just kick the can down the road. Shohei's made, I think, $4 million the last 2 years. He's won 2 MVPs in LA. He's made $4 million from the Dodgers during that time, which is just ridiculous. So
that's like a rookie contract.
Exactly. So it's one of those where step one to me is getting rid of the deferred money. If you're going to spend money, I have no problem with teams spending money, but you need to spend money now. You can't just be like, 10 years from now we're going to spend a bunch of money on these players as well. So I think that's step one. And if you want to do a salary cap and a salary floor, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think it definitely matters how you implement that. But I think both sports are facing some major issues.
See, I'm vehemently against a salary cap. I hate it. I think it's just wage suppression for players. I don't actually think it introduces more parity, nor do I think you actually want more parity. I think people say they want parity, but I think people want to watch the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series every year. And I think they want their team to have a chance. But I don't think they want, to watch the Oakland Athletics play the Milwaukee Brewers in the World Series. I don't think people want that. And I know they're not in Oakland, but I will continue to say they're from Oakland because that was wrong. I think the owners have screwed baseball in a lot of different ways over the years. And I think what they're about to do is really going to be hurtful towards the players and the health of the sport. However, because they've fixed the game, and I know baseball's trending a little bit downwards compared to basketball, because they fixed the game, I think baseball, I have a little bit more faith in Rob Manfred and the leadership of baseball moving forward. Whereas looking at basketball, I'm still trying to figure out what Adam Silver has done outside of removing Donald Sterling as an owner that's been a positive for the NBA and basketball as a whole. I think he's swung and missed on a lot of different things, and I think he has such easy things that he can do to help this sport. I know no one wants to give up the regular season being 82 games, as the NHL also increases to 84 games next year, by the way, which is insane.
Does it? I didn't know that.
Insane they're doing that.
That is weird that they're adding anything in specific, or they're just like, hey, we're going to add 2 more games to make
2 more
money.
games. I know for the Blackhawks, they're playing internationally those 2 games the first year, but I think that's the hope is a lot of teams will use those games to play internationally, but it's just more money. But Dante, if you're going to expand the league like the NHL just did with Seattle and Utah and Vegas, if you're going to expand the NBA like with Seattle and Vegas, most likely the teams, you can get the games back you lose by cutting the regular season by 6 or so games by just adding those teams in. Because do you see how the math works on that? Because those teams are playing games, so there's the same amount of total games being played in the NBA. but there's fewer by each team. I think it's the smartest thing to do, and the basketball needs to do it so badly, as well as one other quick fix. The season should probably start in mid-December and go later. You can't go head-to-head with the NFL for as much of the season as you do. Literally, your first introduction to the season for almost everyone is right after the Super Bowl. It's the All-Star week, and everyone's like, why doesn't anyone care? It's so bad on paper. You know why basketball starts when it does in October?
I don't.
Because the NBA didn't want to go to head-to-head with the number one sport in the country at that point. Baseball, which ends in October. And that's why it finishes up in early April when baseball starts. So I think basketball needs to shift its schedule, and they had the perfect opportunity to do this coming out of COVID, and they whiffed on it. And I think that's a mistake as well from Adam Silver. All right, we're going to talk about moments in sports history you could travel back to and take in if you were a spectator. If you've got a good one that you wanted to go to, if you had a time machine you could go back to, hit us up on the text line. I've got mine. Dante already shared his. I cannot wait to hear Dante's reaction to mine. We'll be right back.
The champ! Are you ready? Do you consider yourself a super fan? Well, now's your chance to prove it. It's Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan Super Fan Send-Off, presented by 303 Law 4040, sending you to Las Vegas for the biggest pro wrestling event in the world. A pair of 2-night event tickets, airfare, and hotel all included, plus a $500 Visa card. So get in the ring and enter now at DenverSports.com/superfan. That's DenverSports.com/superfan.
Hey guys, boy Stink here today by my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if he can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house all cash and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. Want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger, but Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Still haven't filed your taxes? Hey, you're not the only one. A lot of good people fall behind. But here's the thing. The longer you wait, the harder the IRS can hit back. Penalties stack up. Interest piles on. The letters get more aggressive. None of it magically disappears. It's why I always tell folks, call my friends at Advanced Tax Solutions. These are not generalists. They don't dabble in tax problems. They live in this world. Resolving IRS issues is all they do. Maybe you're 1 year behind. Maybe you're 10. Maybe you've got unfiled returns, wage garnishments, bank levies, or you're just losing sleep wondering what the IRS is going to do next. Their licensed tax professionals can step in fast, talk to the IRS for you, stop the stress, and start putting a real plan in place. And listen, waiting never makes it better. Every day you delay is another day the IRS gets to tighten the screws. One quick call to Advanced Tax Solutions, that could be the start of a quick resolution. So take control of your tax situation before the IRS does. Reach out to Advanced Tax Solutions today and breathe again.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Hi, I'm Brad Barnett, president and founder of Mountain High Appliance. This President's Day, enjoy huge savings at all of our showrooms. Whether you're replacing a single appliance or planning a full kitchen remodel, we've got you covered. From freezers starting at $199 to complete kitchen packages starting at only $19.99. Plus, save up to $4,200 on select KitchenAid packages. And our price match guarantee means you'll always receive the best pricing. When you think appliances, think Mountain High Appliance.
Mountain High Appliance, your favorite appliance store.
Thank you.
So, you're ready to propose, huh?
Yeah, man. She's definitely the one.
What are we thinking about the ring? I got my wife's at Hellsberg. I couldn't recommend a better jeweler.
I could use some help with that.
Man, go to Hellsberg. I had no idea how many details you need to consider. Did you know you can get a natural or lab-grown diamond? I didn't. Figure out what she wants. Trust me, they'll make it happen.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Denver Sports 1043 to stay up to date on all your local teams. Denver Sports 1043. The Fan. Denver Sports Station 1043 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
All right, we asked you at the top of the show. I give you a time machine right now. I say, you've got great tickets. You can be a spectator at any sporting event throughout history. What are you picking? Dante let us off with a good one.
The 0-1 Game 7 World Series. Luis Gonzalez walk-off hit over Mariano Rivera. And Mariano Rivera, for one, just never blew saves ever, especially in the playoffs. So the fact that Gonzo was able to do that to an underdog team like the Diamondbacks. I'm from Arizona. I have Arizona ties here. So that's the only championship in my lifetime that Arizona's ever had. So for me, that's an easy one. Number two would maybe be the 1987 Rose Bowl, Arizona State won. Actually, it was funny. A friend of mine, his dad was the quarterback of the team, Jeff Van Rapphorst. Shout out. I just love the Rose Bowl in general. I was able to go to it in 2020, Oregon versus Wisconsin. No dog in the fight, and it's still my favorite sporting event I've ever been to. So I can't imagine what it would have been like if I was actually rooting for my team out there.
Yeah, no doubt. Seeing your team win a championship, I saw it with the Nuggets, was just incredible in person and in that feeling. And then lucky enough for me, I get to go in the locker room after the game, which was insane. 1932 World Series, Babe Ruth calling his shot. That was my wife's pick when I posed this question to her pretty recently. My pick, though, Dante, and I think I'm going to get a rise out of you. If I could time travel back in any sporting event and see it in person, I'm picking the original Olympics. I'm going to see some dudes from Greece run around, box, throw some javelins, maybe armored race, a little horse race, do a long jump. What was going on back there in the pre-BC times and the 500s? I want to know what sports were like.
I want to know what sports were like. I want to know if they were, like, if I watched it, would I be impressed? I feel like I wouldn't. And maybe that's just me being biased towards modern athletes, but I really feel like if I watched athletes from back then, the same way if you watch basketball from back in the day, it's like, these guys stink. These guys were the best we had. I got to imagine I'd feel the same way about the Olympics back then.
Well, you know the story about marathons, right?
I don't think so, no.
So the first marathon being run was from Athens to Marathon in Greece, which is 26.2 miles apart. So a guy was delivering a message. He had to run from Athens to Marathon to deliver this message. I don't know the whole story, but essentially he does this He died after. So I think that tells you what the quality of the athletics was like, which makes me think, forget spectating, maybe I could compete in one of the first Olympic Games. I don't know. The javelin at that time probably seems pretty dangerous, and so does the horse racing. Anyway, we asked you on the text line to hit us up with these answers. Dante, give me some of the best.
Ooh, some of the ones I liked, this one might be number one on my list that I liked. Hank Aaron, home run number 714. And they didn't say this, but I'm going to add this on their behalf. If you got to be one of the guys that just ran on the field and finished the home run with Hank Aaron.
My only problem with that, it was Hank Aaron home run 715.
Oh, okay.
Because it was to beat Babe Ruth. That was the big deal, right? Not 714. But yes, the two guys running on the field, how iconic. The video with the basket and people trying to catch the ball over the wall in Atlanta. That's a really good one. And that, to me, to a lot of people still, that's probably the home run record to this day, which was the biggest record in sports for a long time.
Yes, absolutely. We also had Jesse Owens in the Berlin Olympics. We had a couple of people text in that one. Was that a sprint, a 100-meter race?
Well, he raced in multiple events in the 1936 Olympics.
We also had the Broncos versus Packers Super Bowl from back in the day. I believe that was that John? That was their first ring, right?
Yeah, that was 97 because 98 was against Atlanta, right?
Yes, that sounds right. We had the Miracle on Ice, also a great one. That would be incredible to be at.
Can I give you a crazy Miracle on Ice fact?
It was the semifinals?
Most people know that.
Okay.
It was not broadcast live on TV in
Yeah,
America.
it was tape delay. I mean, that's
tape delay.
That doesn't surprise me that much, considering the NBA Finals used to be tape delayed if you lived in California.
Right. Jesse Owens, 100-meter, 200-meter, long jump, and 4x100 in gold at that Olympics in 36.
We had the Rumble in the Jungle.
Ooh, dude, that would be awesome. Give me also, by the way, give me like a Jack Dempsey fight as like a proud Coloradan. I want to know like what he was throwing down. You know what I mean?
No, I think a great fight would be great. Unfortunately, we don't really see a lot of great fights anymore. So if you got to go back in time and see one of those,
but like that was like 100,000 people in a stadium. Like that was the event, the sporting event of the year before the Super Bowl was like the big fight. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, Texas versus USC, that Rose Bowl, I think that was 2004.
Vince Young.
Yeah, Vince Young running in the corner. That would have been a great game. I even remember watching that on TV and being like, dang, what a game that was. So a lot of good answers out there.
I'm loving the picks. I mean, I was at the most heartbreaking moment for one of my teams. So, I mean, in the Bartman moment in the 2003.
Oh, you were at that game?
Yes, I was.
Wow.
I was 8 years old, but I was at that game. So I know what it's like to be at some of these huge moments and be around those moments. And like I said, I've been really blessed to be at so many of these moments. In fact, one of them that was one of my favorite moments that I don't have any regrets about, because I said over and over, if the Colorado Buffaloes make the tournament, the next time I'm going, I just have to go. And I was going to chicken out. And my wife said, you got to go. You got to go. So I went to Indianapolis last second with one of my best friends, covered it here for Denver Sports. And KJ Simpson hit one of the biggest shots in Colorado Buffalo's history to beat Florida. And bringing it full circle, KJ Simpson is now a Denver Nugget. He will be a member of the team starting tomorrow when they play the Los Angeles Clippers. So really excited for KJ, proud of him, and really excited for the second half of the NBA season. Dante, do you have... Yeah, go ahead.
I got one more question for you. If you could travel to the future and see any sporting event, what are you looking for?
See, like... How much does sports change? Like, is there going to be like some like, I'm watching short track speed skating on the TV right now. Is there going to be like some form of that where it's like neon and in the dark or something?
Upside down with gravity?
Yeah, like is that going to be the most popular sport? I don't know.
You could make it up though. You could say Nikola Jokic's second championship, or you could say the Rockies winning a World Series.
I don't think that's happening.
Even in the hypothetical future?
I don't know. You know what would be a cool one? Being at Coors Field when someone finally hits a home run into the roof, the rock pile.
Okay.
That's going to happen at some point. So that seems feasible. It's up my alley. I like that.
I like that answer.
That's a question I'm going to mull on, Dante. He's Dante Gomez. I'm Jake Shapiro. Denver Sports Tonight.
Tune into The Rundown with Richie Carney every weekday at noon on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Presented in part by The Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier indoor golf bar experience. Check out this week's live music, trivia, and other fantastic events at thebirdie.bar on the web and Instagram.